Yesterday's Wall Street Journal had a section titled 5G What's Next? Who's Winning the Key High-Tech Battles? This is a must-read if you're an investor and you're going to be investing over the next 5 years. What I really liked about it is it went into great detail of breaking down the different aspects of 5G and how the United States is faring against China. I think it's pretty well recognized that China has pretty much skipped 4G and went directly to 5G and is way ahead of us in many aspects. It goes in very deeply into artificial intelligence. It goes into quantum computing. It goes into semiconductors. It goes into autonomous vehicles. And it does a very detailed job of comparing where we are to where China is and where we are in these different fields and who are the players, the companies that are going to take us into 5G. And as an investor, this is something you really need to read. Now, it was in Monday, April 13th edition of the Wall Street Journal. If you can't get this, if it isn't available to you, I have access to it online, so I will copy the article and then make it available to anybody who subscribes to bestofusinvestors.com. Go to bestofusinvestors.com and I'll probably send this to all subscribers either tomorrow or the following day. The other thing, then it goes into some very also interesting things, and one of them that I thought was interesting, it's time to consider 6G. This was enlightening to me. I knew there would be a 6G and I knew there'd be a 7G, but it goes into detail as to what the differences will be and how it will affect your life and how it's going to be implemented. There are also some articles about how there are some dead zones in the United States and what's going to be done and who are the leaders in those fields, whether it be AT&T, whether it be T-Mobile, whether it be Spectrum. And it gives you some good insight. And as I say, if you're an investor, these are the kinds of things that you need to be knowledgeable of so that you can stay ahead of everybody else. Again, the Wall Street Journal, Monday, April the 13th. Find it if you can. If you can't, subscribe to Best of U.S. Agents, and I'll share it. I'll share it with you. So that's exciting to me. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. The other thing I wanted to talk to you today was maybe on a little bit more of a personal basis, and that is who is Kerry and why is he doing what he's doing. I think I've told you that I'm a retired financial advisor. If you've dove in deep into my videos, you know that I lost my daughter to cancer in 2014, and about that time I lost my faith, and if you really want to know more about that, go to www.christmasweb.com. That's a children's book that I wrote, and in the bar, click on Shannon's story. Shannon was my daughter. To give you a little background, Shannon came to me when she was 13 years old and said I needed to take her down to the county office because she needed to change her name. She explained that I had given her, Nita and I had given her the wrong name, that she was a reincarnation of my mother, who died of cancer when she was 29 years old and I was 8 years old. And she was a reincarnation. Well, she injured her foot about a year later, which we then learned later that was the start of her cancer. Once she was diagnosed with cancer in her early 20s, she told us that if she lived to 29 this time, and again, she was referring to the fact that she believes she was a reincarnation of our mother, that would be as long as she would live. As it was, when she was 29, she had her, or in the whole process, she had her leg amputated. We thought we had beat it. She actually died when she was 41. She had a son that was 8 years old. My mother had a son that was 8 years old when she died as well, and that was me. So I saw life repeating itself. I saw my grandson about to relive my life, and I got very, very angry. And I jokingly and in truth say my wife saw the anger, and luckily Nita and I had a strong enough marriage that it survived. But she said, you need to find something to do, and you need to find another place to live. So that's when I got into real estate, which took me to video, which took me to YouTube, which has brought me here today. In that process, though, to get to where I am from 2014, I needed to find out who the hell I was and why I was the way I was, if I was going to survive. So I went through an exercise, and I've written a book about that. And I just got notice that the editor is done editing it, and now I need to get a cover and I need to publish it. And I want to share that with you because it's probably the most important thing that has happened to me, that has given me the strength to do what I'm doing now, to be open and sharing and be creative. I learned through this process that I actually pursued the wrong career. I spent over 50 years as a salesman, selling things that I really didn't believe in, and just pushing product. And it isn't what I should have been doing. But luckily, I discovered that somewhere around 73, 74 years old. And so the balance of my life is being spent doing what I want to do. This. Sharing my knowledge, sharing my experiences. I was lucky also that I found myself, I made myself my way through the financial planning industry. I came into it in 1992, and basically it was an industry of throw as much shit against the wall and see what sticks. And basically it was the same as the insurance industry. You just employ as many people as you can and get them to sell their parents, their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, their whomever, their sphere of influence, insurance, or in the case of financial planning, gather their assets. And then once they have emptied that low-hanging fruit, which usually took about 18 months, they would go on, and then the company, the whether it be Merrill Lynch or as I was working for American Express Financial Advisors, would retain those clients and go on and be very, very profitable. Well, in 1999, I said, this is a bunch of crap, and I don't want to do it that way. So I actually went out and started buying other practices and got myself into a position where I had more business that I could handle. So I started hiring the shit that they were throwing against the wall and turning them into financial advisors. And as a result of that, middle management said, what the hell is he doing? He's going to put us out of work. Well, if you go and look at the financial planning industry today, and particularly Ameriprise, it is what I created. There is no throwing shit against the wall anymore and seeing what sticks. It is strong advisors, training new advisors, and growing a system. Basically, and that's the reason I went into real estate, because it still throws shit against the wall and sees what sticks. It still works the 80-20 rule. 20% of the real estate agents make 80% of the money, and 80% of the real estate agents fail within the first 18 months in the business. And as a result of what's happening with the corona crisis, that number is even going to go higher. The real estate industry is on pause and will be on pause for the most part for probably the next 6 months. So it won't be an 80-20, it will be a 90-10. And there will be, the ranks will shrink dramatically. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. What I want to impress upon you, though, is you need to know who you are. You need to go through the exercise that I went through, which started with just, it's very simple. Write down the days of your life that you can remember today. And you're going to find, first of all, you multiply your age times 365, and that's the number of days you've been alive. Now, write down on a yellow pad how many of them you can remember. And you're going to find you can only write down roughly 50 to 75. And then put that away and come back 2 weeks later and repeat the exercise. And you're going to find, again, you can only remember 50 to 75, but you're also going to find that a lot of what you wrote down is repetitive. Now ask yourself the real key question. What are the 10 most important days of your life? What are the 10 days of your life that made Kerry Grinkmeyer who Kerry Grinkmeyer is, in my case? And you're going to discover sometime between probably age 4 and 18, there were 10 things that happened to you that formed your character, that makes how you will react to any given situation is predetermined. How you can be loved and how you can give love, how you can be trusted and how you trust other people. 10 days. 10 days. And once you know those 10 days, you now know yourself. Once you know yourself, you then dig deeper and you ask yourself, where do I find happiness? Where in my past life did I find happiness? And what was I doing when I was happy? I almost guarantee you, it wasn't going to work. It wasn't doing what you do for a profession. It may be the happiest I was out when I was out on a lake catching fish and pulling in the big ones. Well, maybe you need to be a professional fisherman. Or maybe you need to create a YouTube channel like I have of sharing with people your experiences of fishing. And that's the next book I'm going to write and the next course I'm going to train you. I'm going to share something with you right now that I haven't shared with anybody. My YouTube channel is growing at a rate of roughly 250% per month. If I project that out off of advertising, before the end of this year, I'll be making $23,000 a month off of selling ads. And that's just the beginning. I'm going to create a line of merchandise that says best of us, best of US, best of US investors. This is going to turn into a multi-million-dollar business for me. And I want to teach you how to do it. So while I'm not doing this sometimes, I'm trying to put together a course that you can purchase, and I will sit and I will teach you to do what I'm doing. I'll share my spreadsheets of how I track. I know, based on what happens today, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen 50 days from now. I track it and I understand YouTube's algorithm. And so I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life because I'm doing what I enjoy doing. I'm not selling a product. I'm not pushing cameras. I'm not pushing mutual funds. I'm not pushing Purex bleach. Those are the things I did for 50 years. I'm sharing my knowledge, and I'm making your life better. I'm giving you an opportunity. I got a comment from a young gentleman who said he's just getting into investing and he has $2,300, and he's in this Robinhood thing, and he has learned more about investing from me than he has anywhere else, and he can't wait to see more of my videos. Do you know what that feels like? Do you have any, in your work, have you gotten that kind of satisfaction? Have you created relationships with people all over the world who are just thankful that you take your time to do what you do? That's where I'm at. And that's where I want to take you. If you're a fisherman, you need to do a YouTube channel. If you're an artist, you need to do a YouTube channel. And I'll teach you how to do it. I have looked all my life, 75 years, for this opportunity to take what I love and what I enjoy doing and making it profitable. And the crazy thing is, I don't need the money now. I profited it quite handsomely doing the things I didn't really like doing. So, get this. If you can't get it, register at bestofusinvestors.com and I'll send it to you.